Elon Musk is a moron. He is a stupid person who is bad at doing the job that actually benefits him to be bad at. Doge's entire purpose is to cause chaos, be destructive, and make it more dangerous and worrisome to work in the federal government. That is the goal they want to achieve. It's not about trim the waste, not about cutting the fat. It's about making lives more difficult for essentially everyone in America who isn't a billionaire. But what else Elon is bad at is the public stuff, the publicity, the press, putting out information about Doge, which is always lies. Anytime he's trying to say, here are my receipts. And the latest example, Elon just made an $8 billion mistake with a lie he told about Doge that has just backfired in the worst way. Again, he is so stupid. We're going to get into it all. He was completely humiliated. You're going to want to stick around for this one. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get, I'm just like, it's so funny. You're going to see. Before we get into Elon's big mistake, I want to hear from Bernie Sanders calling out Elon directly for all of the damage he's done at Doge.
When it comes to questions about who is the administrator of Doge, actually, do you believe that's an important question to have the answer to?
No, the issue is not who is technically the administrator, who has the title. Elon Musk is clearly running the show, the wealthiest person in the world, who has enormous conflicts of interests, who is helping to fund right-wing extremist organizations all over the world, who is looking forward to get massive tax breaks from Congress. He's running the show.
So if he's running the show, but not on paper, as they essentially argue, but you say in practice, he basically is. You're a co-equal branch of government as a senator on Capitol Hill.
I kind of thought so, but I think you have to explain that to the president.
Do you feel that you have oversight when it comes to what Elon Musk is doing?
Look, what we're seeing right now, Caitlin, is a very dangerous moment. I'm laughing here, but it is not funny. This country is moving very rapidly under Trump into an authoritarian form of society. You know, the founding fathers, way back in the 1770s, these were nobody's fools. And what they had fought the King of England, an autocrat, had all the power, and they said, you know what? We don't want that in the new country. We're going to set up 3 separate equal branches of government. And every kid in the 6th grade knows who they are. But Trump does not. And what Trump is doing now is trying every day to usurp the powers of Congress, to challenge the powers of the court. It is a very dangerous moment.
Well, the question, though, when it comes to what this looks like, is we haven't seen a ton of resistance from Capitol Hill, and we have seen some efforts in the courts. These Democratic attorneys general stepped in. But today, a federal judge here, Tanya Chutkan, she's well known to our audience from the Trump trials, she declined to block Musk and his team from getting access because she basically said she wasn't getting specific enough examples from these AGs about how Musk could cause irreparable harm to their state. And if they can't prove that in court, what does that say?
Well, I tell you what I happen to believe. At the end of the day, the struggle against Trump, the struggle against oligarchy, which is led by Elon Musk, the struggle against authoritarianism, the fight to make sure that the working class of this country gets a fair shake, that is not going to be won here in Capitol Hill. It's going to be won by millions of people all over this country standing up and saying, you know what, we fought and died for democracy. We're not going to move toward authoritarianism. We fought to create a country that works for all, not just the billionaire class. That's the struggle, and I'm going to be active in trying to rally the American people to do just that.
Elon is clearly the person running the show. He is clearly in charge. He is clearly the president. We're not doing co-president anymore. He's in charge. And he's really, really bad at it. Like I said at the beginning of this video, not just like actually identifying waste, which of course we know he doesn't care about, but talking up Doge, talking up this agency. And I really just can't keep the smile off my face. We just saw the most humiliating example of that. And I want to check it out in an article right here. Doge's shocking $8 billion mistake called out. That's one way to pump up your numbers. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency erroneously claimed a savings of $8 billion on a terminated contract this week that was actually worth just $8 million. The gaffe sheds off about 15% of its claimed total savings to date, which the group claimed was $55 billion, probably a lie, on Monday, despite line items posted on its website, including the incorrect $8 billion figure at the time, totaling just a quarter of that. These inconsistencies, in addition to the slew of contracts listed as having a savings of $0, have called Doge's accounting into question, as Musk keeps claiming he has saved Americans tens of billions more than what his own department touts. Doge's $8 billion gaffe was first spotted by the New York Times, which theorized the mistake may have came out about because past versions of this since canceled contract on the Federal Procurement Data System had incorrectly stated it was $8 billion. The contract was earmarked for immigration and customs enforcement and was to be doled out across approximately 6 years. Despite this initial typo, it was clear the contract was being paid out to a total of only $8 million, evidenced by its first 2.5 years costing the federal government just $2.5 million. I say it again. These are stupid people. They are not smart. They are not doing their jobs well. They are just going into documents and hitting Control F. There was an example of, I believe it was in Pennsylvania, of students who had, challenges learning, who the government provides these public schools funding for them to help. The word was transition into the workforce, students with special needs. And because the word transition was in the document outlining the work they were doing, Doge gutted it because they're like, oh my gosh, trans. But it was transition from school to the workforce. And they got rid of it. A program for children with special needs. Like, these guys are morons. They're criminals, and they're doing a terrible job. But again, that is the point, is to create the chaos, is to destroy the government. It's all in benefit of Elon Musk. When there's less oversight of him and more money in his pocket, Elon's happy. And that's what Bernie Sanders continued to call him out for in this clip right here.
Federal government perfect? Far from it. Do we need to bring about reforms? Absolutely. But let us be clear what these guys really want to do. Do you think that Elon Musk is staying up night just worrying about excessive spending in the CDC? I don't think so. At the end of the day, what these guys want and what Trump wants is to cut programs that working class people need. They're talking, the House Budget Committee released their report, their budget, $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid. Do you know what that means? It's not only that millions of people, kids, are going to be thrown off the health insurance they have, devastating to nursing homes, 40% of the revenue coming into community health centers. 30 million people get their health care, community health centers. That's coming from Medicaid. You cut Medicaid, you're going to dismember an already broken health care system. What are they going to do with that money? They're going to give it to tax breaks for the richest people in America. Over $1 trillion goes in tax breaks to the top 1%. That is what these guys want. They want more wealth. They want more power. American people are going to have to stop them.
Well, and what you're referencing, this is like the blueprint, essentially, that we got from House Republicans. It's not clear what realistically they're going to be able to pass here, but they're looking to have $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. Right. And basically, this plan instructed the Energy and Commerce Committee, which oversees Medicaid, to find those $880 billion in cuts. Realistically, what should voters be worried about if you hear from some moderate Republicans who say, we're not going to touch Medicaid, that's not going to be on the table?
Well, no one is saying that. I mean, right now, what we are trying to do in a House which is almost evenly divided, if 2 Republicans, 2 out of 435 members, say, you know what, we're not going to vote to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut programs that children and the elderly and the hungry desperately need. 2 Republicans, their proposal is dead. And we're going to work hard to make sure not only do we get 2, they'll get a hell of a lot more than 2.
On the Elon Musk front, when it comes to Social Security payments and what is actually wrong with government and what's exaggerated, We're hearing this line from the White House that tens of millions of people are getting Social Security fraudulently. Either they're dead or...
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
We've gotten no evidence of it, but I looked into this, and what we do know is that there's a lot of people that still remain in the database, but as far as people who are actually getting payments, it was 44,000 who got payments according to an audit that was done in 2023.
Out of how many millions?
There's tens of millions. So when they say tens of millions, that would be
this is what we are dealing with.
Security.
We're not only dealing with oligarchy, the incredible power of the very, very rich. We're not only dealing with a move toward authoritarianism, we're dealing with what is new to America. You know, politicians have always lied, nothing new about that. But the level that we're seeing right now, the big lie, over and over again, and it goes out, there's a big lie, and then it goes out on Musk's Twitter to, several hundred million people, repeated over and over again. And now the word is out there, oh, people on Social Security, 150 years of age. Can you believe it? The whole thing is corrupt. It's broken. Well, where does that lead you, Caitlin? What's the next step? If government can't do anything, if Social Security doesn't work, if Medicare doesn't work, if Medicaid doesn't work, we're going to get rid of all of those programs, and we're going to give it over to the billionaire class to run it.
That's what you think they're ultimately trying to do?
Yeah, at the end of the day, not only do they,
Social Security.
they want massive cuts to programs for the working class in this country in order to give tax breaks to the very rich, and then they want to move to the privatization of every important government agency. Just the other day, and this really upset me, because I used to be chairman of the Veterans Committee, and I feel very strongly about making sure that those men and women who put their lives on the line to defend this country get a fair shake. Right away, 1,000 employees at the VA laid off at a time when the VA healthcare system certainly needs more help than they have right now. So at the end of the day, they're going to want to privatize Veterans Administration, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Post Office, by the way.
If President Trump were seated next to you, he might say, well, I pledged on the campaign trail that I'm not going to touch Social Security.
Yeah.
What would you say to voters who bring
I
that
think
up?
the president has many attributes, but credibility and honesty are not one of them. So I would have my doubts. I'm not saying they're going to go after Social Security tomorrow. They're not. But this is the groundwork. I mean, this is what you do. You destroy the credibility of programs that are complicated, programs that have tens of millions of people. This is the welfare queen again. Look at this person. They got this, they got that. Kill the whole program.
Y'all know this is all I'm going to be talking about, is just how destructive and dumb Doge is. But we have to make sure it breaks through. We have to make sure that we're being very specific with how we talk about these things, that we don't give these guys credit because they don't deserve it. They don't know what they're doing. Let's stop starting any conversation about Doge with saying, well, we all want to get rid of waste in government. It's like, we're beyond that point. They're not doing it. Don't give them any ounce of credibility. That's how we're going to treat this. And it's how we're going to be talking about it on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.